We have $200 from Woody Thompson. I've been watching GDQs since AGDQ 2011, and now I've finally graduated and have a job that's let me donate. Big thanks to MSF for all that you do, and to GDQ for helping to make it possible. Just an update on Save and Kill the Animals, by the way. We've so far received, according to the numbers here, $300,000 in donations specifically towards Kill or Save the Animals. So that is just a staggering amount of money. But the more impressive part, maybe, is that the difference is still under $500 between the two. So, yeah, I have to say that again for emphasis. $300,000 donated towards Save and Kill the Animals, but a $500 difference is all that exists at this point. So, anything is possible, and a reminder that we will cut off those donations for Save and Kill the Animals at the very end of the run. So you have some time left to donate. Before we start the Super Metroid race, we'd like to once again plug the charity that we are receiving donations for. So here's a message from MSF. All right. From one very notable race to another, we've got the four-way Super Metroid race at Summer Games Done Quick 2015. Let's go ahead and introduce the players while they're warming up. In the top left corner of your stream, we've got four-way race veteran. Give it up for Zoast. In the top right, make some noise for David Clemens. In the bottom left, let's have a cheer for Straevaras. And rounding out our four in the bottom right, it's Oatsngoats. We'll let the players make some final adjustments here, and then we'll get the countdown and get them going. All right, gentlemen, we're going to start this race in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Leaderboard. Shout outs to Mr. Landmaster for developing that.
Well, as you can see, they're using a technique going through the first hallway called arm pumping. It's something that gets used a lot throughout the run. Basically, what it does is it just kind of moves you forward a few pixels here and there, and throughout the course of the run, it ends up saving a lot of time.
Yeah, whenever Samus's arm cannon goes from a neutral position when moving forward to a position where it's out, such as with angle up or angle down, it'll shift Samus forward 1 pixel for every time it happens.
So for those who aren't aware, Super Metroid, this follows the destruction of the Metroids in Metroid 2, and the whole plot revolves around that baby Metroid that Ridley just flew away with.
Right. To escape Ridley's chamber, they intentionally took damage off of Ridley's tail that deals 15, whereas his body only deals 5, so they could get out of the chamber the fastest way.
Now, the actual escape, there's quite a bit of RNG in this escape, particularly in this room right here with those falling tiles. And that can change the strategies that the runners will use in that room. And this room is just a lot of difficult ledge grabs.
Yep, it's really the first thing in Super Metroid races that people will post times for and compete over.
Super Happy donated $200 and says, congratulations on making another million. Kill the animals. And Fielter donates $100 saying, incredible SGDQ. Thanks for the incredible week.
All right, so most of the tricks in this game have to do with movement and clever use of the physics engine rather than exploiting glitches. So as the players run, as Chronic mentioned, you'll notice that they repeatedly aim up and down. So every time they do that, it's going to move them forward 1 pixel and give a net result of about a 4% increase of movement speed.
Right. What's interesting about the early game rooms, basically up to bombs, and even to a degree after bombs, but especially up to bombs, is they all have about 3 or more strategies that are all viable with different amounts of speed and consistency to them. But yeah, they're all viable in their own way, and you're going to see players sort of do their own thing as they make their way to bombs throughout the rooms.
This is one of the things I really like about Super Metroid is the style of each player is different. So you can watch a run by a player with the same time as a run from another player without any other context, and you can recognize their style.
Yep, absolutely. So if you're familiar with Super Metroid, or even if you just watched the AGDQ 2014 race, it's pretty much going to be the same thing that you've seen before, but after about 7 or 8 minutes in or so, you'll see some deviation in the route because in the last year
Some
or so...
minor deviation or so.
Yeah.
So now these guys have Morph Ball, they can do a move called the Mach Ball, which is possible due to a couple of features in the Super Metroid's physics engine. So the first is that you can do a running jump, you can morph in the air, and you can hold forward and keep your momentum as a ball. And then the second thing is, if you hit the ground while you're in the middle of a morphing animation, you won't bounce, and in the case that you're going forward, you won't lose momentum. So in order to do the Mach Ball, all you need to do is a running jump and then morph right as you would hit the ground. And the game tracks speed and momentum as 2 different variables, so like your total speed is going to be the momentum plus the actual speed. In the case of being in a ball, it has a higher momentum value than running does. So the Mach Ball actually travels about 10% faster than just running.
Yeah, in about 2.5 minutes, you'll see one applied specifically to skip a mini-boss and acquire Spore Swans earlier than you would in normal gameplay.
Super missiles?
Yep.
This would also actually be a pretty good time to talk about Super Metroid's drop system. So the game isn't going to drop any items that you're full up on. In the case of all the players here, they're all full up on health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going to remove the health from the drop table and replace it with missiles or empty slots. So the players are looking to see a lot of extra missile drops with their full health. Oats showing us how the Bomb Chorizo kill is done.
Nope. Yeah, Zoast got a little bit unlucky with missile drops.
Looks like Clemens also had a pretty good fight.
Yeah, as you can see from Zoast's screen, if the Bomb Chorizo drops below 100 HP, he'll become decapitated. But if you hit him with a missile when he's at 100 HP, it'll skip this since missiles deal 100 damage, saving a little bit of time.
Also, Bomb Chorizo is one of the few enemies in the game that actually has a significant invincibility period. So without that invincibility period, the runners would have just been able to spam missiles as quickly as possible. In this case, they actually have to wait approximately double the time that they could normally shoot missiles.
player's about to head down to Brinstar in just a moment.
We have a $500 donation from Brian McHugh. Those poor doctors, here's $500. I hope that helps them get a new boarder.
So a lot of people, when they're learning this game, will probably try and learn the mock ball first as their first trick, and that's a fine trick to start out with, but it's not really the trick that makes any percent tick. It just allows us to skip a very boring battle. And I know I just upset a ton of Sportspawn fans out there.
Oatsngoats just had a pretty clutch backup mock ball under the first gate after missing the initial mock ball.
That's the other thing about this game is there are a lot of different backup strats that can really help mitigate the tempo loss from missing a trick.
Yep. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of backup strats throughout the course of the race.
Wow. This guy.
We've got another donation here, $100 from Soap and Dave. Best game ever. Good luck to all the runners, and thank you for what is going to be the highlight of the marathon.
So actually coming up is the first major difference between this route and the route we saw at AGDQ 2014. So when the runners get to the red shaft after what we call the noob bridge here, for the reason that you have to be holding the run button, instead of going down and continuing to grade, like Oats is going to just go up. And we're going to continue on direct ship. And in doing so, they'll have to execute a number of tough tricks, starting with this hero shot that Oats just very nicely pulled off.
Zoast with the hero shot follow-up as well.
So the hero shot is a trick named after Hero of the Day, which is a Tasser, the author of the first Tasser in which it appeared. And it basically just involves following a shot up a shaft to keep it on the screen longer, allow it to hit target further away than you would normally be in range to shoot. So the next major thing that the runners are going to have to do is called the continuous wall jump. So this involves a jump across to the missile on the way to wreck ship, which has to be done on exactly the right frame, and then a 2-frame window to wall jump off the pillar on which the missile's sitting. Now, if they mess this up, there are a couple backup strats that don't lose too much time, and they can either go back to the door, reattempt the jump, or they can try and bomb jump across the moat. And I think, depending on what the runners are going to be more comfortable with, is going to determine what they go with.
Oh, absolutely. And another thing is, if you did watch the AGDQ 2014 race, the big difference here is what they would have done on the old route is they would have speed booster at this point, so they would shine spark across instead of having to do this.
We'd also like to ask that everybody refrain from clapping until everybody's made it across the moat, because this is a pretty intense part. Oatsngoats being the first to make it across the moat, I believe. Yep.
So it's following.
2. We got 3. All right.
Stray, nice.
Clemens not quite in the right position for this. So we're going to see what strat he's going to use too. Now this is a very, very difficult bomb jump to get across the moat.
Yeah, he's going to set up the CWJ again by using the position outside the room.
So Oats is already on the first real boss of the fight. Fantoon is a very heavy RNG component of the run due to the fact that he's invincible for a random amount of time before you can hit him.
Yeah, Fantoon's one of the first enemies that supers deal double to, but you can't use it on him immediately or it'll disappear immediately for 18 seconds into an enraged phase. So they're going to try to finish him off with it to skip that after dealing the required amount of damage beforehand for him to perish.
So normally for Fantoon, you can only get in 5 missiles a round, and what the runners are doing here is they're shooting missiles as they're running toward him, creating a trick that we call the Doppler effect, named after the real-world phenomenon, of course. And this allows them to actually shoot more missiles per round than the normal 5 per round limit.
Absolutely.
Zoast with a pretty clean and quick Fantoon fight.
Right. The players hope to kill Fantoon in under 4 rounds, assuming they're provided with the ammo necessary from Fantoon's flames.
Yeah, and Fantoon's a really interesting boss. Like throughout the last, even the last 4 years, the fight has changed a lot. Like it's gone through a bunch of different iterations depending on the route. Like the most recent one, which once again you would have seen it, the AGDQ 2014 race, was what we called the X Factor. And since we don't have wave, it's kind of not a thing you can do in this route.
Yeah, it's shown Fantoon's in rage on Oates' screen because he fired the super a little too early.
Fantoon does not like to get hit by supers. Well, gentlemen, Super Metroid has the highest regular race quit rate on SRL for a reason. This game is difficult, and this particular route that the runners are playing today is especially unforgiving. There's no autosave, so the run is dead. It takes a lot of guts to try and run a game with such a high potential for termination in front of 150,000 viewers. So let's give Oatsngoats a big round of applause.
We've got everybody else making their way to Gravity Suit. The area Zoast is in. As you can see, you're intended to have Grapple Beam for this part, and similar to the moat, where you would also want Grapple Beam, the previous routes used to Shine Spark over it, as they could for bowling, but in this, since you have neither of those items, again, you simply just have to run an arm pump and make your way across, and you can do this and only take 2 hits, which is pretty crucial.
Right, without the ability to do that, they would need to make sure they have almost full health going into that room every time, which just isn't feasible. Most of the time you get to that room, you'll maybe be 20, 30 energy short of being able to take 3 hits in that room. So the arm pumping really makes a difference in that room, that extra 4%. So Zoast actually has a pretty comfortable lead right now, but there are a number of events later in the run that could change that. Coming up here, you're probably going to see a couple of damage boosts on Zoast's screen here. So the developers decided to give the ability to Samus to quickly recoil from damage, and to do so, you have to hold jump and press backwards right after taking damage. The runners can take advantage of this interesting technique for movement by quickly turning away from the direction they want to go right before taking damage, and of course they're going to be jumping into spikes that they otherwise wouldn't. Normally damage boosting isn't actually faster than just plain running, but in this case, with a room that doesn't have, a nice wide platform, it has a lot of gaps in it, it can be used to traverse the room much more quickly.
Yeah, you may have also noticed Zoast farming the cack attacks after the elevator. Ammo is especially important as he makes his way through Norfair. There are a lot of red and green doors that you want to bust through immediately, and you want to make sure that you have plenty of ammo going to lower Norfair so that you don't have to worry so much on Ridley.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Very, very soon here, we're going to see some more route deviation from what you would be used to if you haven't watched this game in a while.
So actually picking up Spazer right now is a route deviation from the previous run that was at AGDQ 14. Previously, it wasn't used in the run at all because you would X-Factor Fantoon, you would X-Factor Botwoon, you would X-Factor Dragon, and you would wait to pick up Ice until as late as possible.
Right, you wouldn't want Spazer because you would have to menu it off every time you wanted X Factor, basically, which wastes real time.
Yep.
There were a lot more X Factors in the older route than there are in this route.
Unless you're Zoast.
Yeah.
Unless you're Zoast.
And you'll see what we mean, hopefully.
So normally Kraid is the first boss that you would complete in a standard playthrough, 100% run, anything like that. But they're skipping Kraid for now. They could kill Kraid, and it would be, roughly the same time. There's no weapons that they will get that'll help on Kraid. But what they're doing is they're collecting all of the items in Norfair first, and they're going to do all of Norfair in one go. And after they have all those items, it's going to speed up actually going through Kraid's lair to get to Kraid. So that's why we bypassed him.
Right, Norfair is just a big item collection fest. There's a ton of good major items in Norfair that help through the rest of the game, as Desi explained.
An interesting challenge is actually to see how high of a percentage you can get without getting any Norfair items.
Sounds like a bad idea.
If I remember, you can get like 83%, which is a lot.
Since David has only one power bomb, he's opting to not blow away that tube, so he has it for the fire gamer, I think more accurately known as a Nova or a Sova, in the pre-high jump boots room.
From the Yeti, we have a $2,000 donation. Hey all, the Yeti here. All the animal savers got too ambitious. The balance must be restored. Please put $2,000 towards killing the animals. Let the frames run free for now.
I just want to mention Zoast pulled off right side Bubble Mountain with high jump boots. That's
Yes.
pretty ridiculous to do first try.
Yeah, very difficult.
The difficulty in that mainly lies in the fact that you have to start your wall jump so far away from the wall. Normally you have roughly 2 to 10 frames of a window to start the wall jump. In order to get that wall jump, he basically had to do it at that last frame.
Yep. Another interesting thing that you're going to see again here with Zoast is that this game is so optimized now that even just where you go through a door matters. If the door has to realign for a long time, that actually loses you time in an RTA. So.
I did also want to say thanks to the Yeti. Everybody up here in the chairs and on the couch are thankful for that particular donation.
Yeah, absolutely. Repping a Yeti shirt right now. Love you guys.
So Zoast obviously just got Speed Booster. Still a very important item in this route, even though we just got it halfway through as opposed to getting it a third of the way through in the previous old route. The Speed Booster allows runners to run at roughly double the speed. Once Samus changes to the blue color by running, the runner can store energy from the Speed Booster by pressing down. Once they do, they'll have 3 seconds to use the energy before it dissipates to create a Shine Spark, which is a move that causes Samus to fly straight in horizontal, vertical, diagonal directions. There's a health cost associated with using the Shine Spark, as well as a recoil that takes quite a bit of time. So you won't see it too often in the run, but we have a very important one coming up.
Yeah, interestingly, the first spark of this route is one of the more spectacular to watch.
Yeah, I think it's one of the
Exceptionally
hardest
difficult Shine Spark.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens here, and then we'll explain.
So, got it.
So normally the game expects the player to have space jump at this point, which allows for infinite jumping in the air. However, since the runners haven't come across that item yet, nor are they going to, they need to get into Norfair via, a quicker method. So the short charge is actually, we haven't really talked about short charges yet, have we?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so another thing to note about the speed booster is that the transition to the blue color isn't actually determined by how fast Samus is going, but rather the game tries to check for how long you've been holding the run button, and to do so, it's only going to check every time a specific frame of the leg animation happens. So the Shine Spark can actually be built in a much shorter distance than normal by only holding the run button for the frames that are being checked. Let's watch Stray.
Stray gets it too.
Nice job.
Yeah, missing that is pretty costly, not only in time but in health. The backup for that is costs about 6 seconds to pull off optimally, the gravitation jump, and doing so without Various Suit and lava. The heat and lava damage stacking causes a lot of damage, so it would make lower Norfair that much more deadly than it already is for the racers.
So if we end up seeing the gravity jump here, I'll explain it. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and wait.
As you can see,
Clemens.
also gets it.
No.
We missed it. I can't
You missed it.
see.
All right.
Dang, dude.
So he's going to perform the gravitation jump back up.
So basically the way this works is that Samus has a different set of physics in the fluids, depending on whether or not Gravity Suit is equipped. So to compensate for the floaty physics when gravity is off, the normal jump is reduced in power while her suit is off. By taking off the gravity suit right after initiating the jump, the runner is basically storing the power of the normal jump and then transitioning over to the floaty physics of not having the suit anymore. And that allowed him to get all the way up to the platform.
So those are the beautiful triple X on Ridley.
Yep, those are the X factors I was talking about. Ridley's a much different fight than it used to be, especially from the race that you saw a year and a half ago. Back then you would have, plasma, ice, wave, and, you'd have to do 20 charge shots or so, and now you don't have that.
60 charge shots.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's the basic number, but
Right.
also one missile is equivalent, or sorry, 3 missiles is equivalent to 1 charge shot. A super missile is equivalent to 2 charge shots.
Yeah, so that's why he was doing those X factors, which it's very, very hard to pull off. I know he put in a lot of work to get that to work out right. So
the X factors are actually each particle is worth 1 charge shot. So the whole thing, if all 4 of them connect, is worth 4 charge shots. So.
Yeah, it saves around 4 seconds real time and about 10 game time. You also saw Zoast choosing to Shine Spark both Steel Pirates on the way to Ridley. That's also to conserve super since they're so helpful on Ridley.
absolutely beautiful fight by Zoast.
One of the quirks about Ridley is that, and one of the things that makes him more difficult is that when he hits 0 health, he does not stop fighting. So the runner just has to count his shots and allow him to pick him up, and then Ridley will die.
So Zoast isn't out of the woods yet. The escape from Norfair is almost as deadly as the Ridley fight. It's really, really scary on its own.
Yeah, there are a lot of high damage enemies on the way out. Your normal any percent where they're trying for the record is not going to get the energy tank after Ridley, but this escape is so dangerous that, I think they'd be crazy not to get it. Even still, this is a pretty low amount of health for the amount of damage that's being given to the player.
So the speedball saving about 4 seconds there. Probably the toughest in the route, I think. I don't know if there's any other tough ones now that I think about it, but yeah.
I don't even know if there are any other real... No, I think there's actually a tougher one later on. It's not really a speedball though.
But yeah, you can easily just mess up a tap or have
Straight
the side
finish
hoppers,
off, Richard.
Very nicely done.
Go ahead.
have the side hoppers in poor positions, and you end up taking a hit and not getting the speedball. It's a bit risky to go for.
So for those that don't know, there was actually quite a bit of usage by Zoast of the pseudo screw attack in that boulder room. So there's an item in this game called Screw Attack, which makes Samus invincible during a spin jump and destroys most enemies while she's spinning. But if she doesn't have that item, then instead you can do a spin jump while having your beam fully charged, and that'll allow you to pass through most projectiles, including Ridley's flames, and also destroy enemies with low enough health count.
So it's pretty much home free on the Norfair escape. Did wonderful in the Key Hunter room.
Yeah, 0 hits in Key Hunters, ball boost out of the lower Norfair, and even kill the 3 enemies in Bubble Mountain so that the power bomb would have reduced lag when it exploded. Also, David Clemens surviving after entering lower Norfair with like 80 HP. That's good on him.
Yep.
It looks like he's got a pretty good fight going on too.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Very nicely done. So Zoast finally heading to Kraid.
Finally heading to Kraid, the first real boss in the game, right?
Boss.
So he has a quick kill that's simply a matter of timing. If you shoot a super into his mouth at the appropriate frame, his growling animation will freeze long enough to fire a few more supers into his mouth right away. And he only has 1,000 health, each super doing 300 damage, so really they only need to fire 4 or 5 projectiles at him to kill him. This is incredibly high pressure situation for Zoast.
Very well done.
Zoast gets it.
As you can see, Kraid had enough to eat for the day, so he decided to take a nap.
Good health and ammo too. You want as many supers as you can get from Kraid's lair, especially Kraid, since Mini Kraid is basically guaranteed to give you 4. Each time you pass by, and you pass by him twice. You want 8 as you leave the lair, so you have 2 for getting through Meridia to Botch Wound, and then 6 for Botch Wound to kill him with the strategy used. Just another example of how strained ammo can be in the run with this route.
Yeah, most of what you'll see in Meridia soon here is fairly similar to what you would know. There's a few differences, such as, like we discussed, the runners won't be picking up Plasma Beam, and then also when Dragon comes along, if they do things well, they should be skipping out on Space Jump as well.
I would be incredibly surprised to see them get Space Jump at this point.
Yes.
So the more conservative option of the Meridian Mountain. You can actually Shine Spark top right to the door, but he decided to conserve his health, and that's only about 1.5 seconds slower when done properly, but it saves about 60 energy to do it that way. Might increase the chance of him not needing to farm after Botch Wound.
Yeah, it might increase the chance of him not needing to farm after Botch Wound. Zoe showing us what a proper Botch Wound fight looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. He has great ammo and health too. Nothing to really worry about.
Let's see how he does on this. He got it.
Yep. So that's a trick called the full halfie. Originally, it was thought you could only get through half the room with the Shine Spark, and then a lot of people worked on it, and it's pretty much a consistent thing now for most good runners of the game.
For the top tier runners, yeah.
Yep. You know, dumb name, full halfie.
Yeah.
Because you have to in the whole room.
You know, I wanted to call it the double halfie when we got there, but I got vetoed.
So you're going to see Zoast start off the fight with a Shine Spark and an X Factor. Dragon, interestingly, is basically the only boss that takes damage from a Shine Spark, and he takes 150 per frame, and I would say a good Shine Spark leads to dealing a little over 2k damage to Dragon, just one Shine Spark, and Dragon having only 6,000 HP, as you can see, it's a very deadly weapon.
And of course, the X Factor at the beginning can lead to additional damage, which also helps to shorten the fight and reduce the number of Shine Sparks required.
Yeah, Zoast getting a little bit unlucky with the swoops at the beginning instead of the goo phase, as we say. But he managed to pull it off, and now he's going to get to Shine Spark back through this entire room again. Yeah,
Zoast having just enough health to utilize the blue suit gained from Dragon dying while Zoast was in a Shine Spark. Dragon's death forces Samus into a standing position, and if your Shine Spark hasn't crashed into, say, the wall, it can...
So Stray is coming up on Batoon.
It can force Samus into that blue suit, having that blue suit.
Unfortunately, what happens when you don't connect with all the X Factor particles is that you become unable to use any items except for the grapple beam, which of course the runners don't have on this route. So there was a short delay before Stray was really able to start DPSing Batoon down.
Yeah, Zoast just heading back up and out to Criteria on his way to what we call Golden 4, which is the statue leading down to Turian. He's just farming up some ammo and health real quick.
Another full halfie by Stray.
Yeah, Zoast primarily wants health for some Metroid grouping strats that you'll see in a couple of minutes.
Yep. And speaking of a couple of minutes here, that's pretty much all you have left for Kill and Save the Animals donations. We're still very close. It's been going back and forth every time I hit refresh, so it's a close race. Get those donations in right now.
Clemens on his Batoon.
Very nicely done.
Now, to really optimize damage on that Dragon fight, the players want to start the Shine Spark roughly intersecting with Dragon's head just right above the belly and start it as close to Dragon as possible, because the Shine Spark goes very quickly, but it still accelerates. Yep. Very nicely done.
That's 3 full halfies from the three.
3 full halfies, yeah.
From the 3 runners.
I would say that's like what, 1.5?
Yeah, like the difficulty of that trick cannot be understated either, though. Like, the timing is very, very precise. You have to have very tight wall jumps, a really good ledge grab at the top, and you have a very small amount of time to actually get it off. So
he's pausing on the elevator to turn his beams back on. He'll want ice to freeze the Metroids, and he pauses specifically on the elevator to save close to a second, because it cuts out part of the elevator going down transition effect that normally happens when you use an elevator. Samus doesn't scroll all the way off screen.
So after finishing this Metroid section, the runners are going to require 9 supers in order to actually be able to complete the game. So in order to minimize the amount of luck involved in collecting all those supers, you'll notice Zoast is using some very nice grouping strats.
Right, all the runners went 2010, so 29 will do, but 2010 is definitely preferred. And he gets it.
Very nice damage boost here by Zoast, allows him to save some health.
And coming up is the Metroid skip, a very difficult trick that involves essentially jumping over it like a jump rope in order to avoid it grabbing.
Yeah.
So the timing here is extremely tight. So let's all be, let's watch intently. So very close.
Yeah, this is actually, that's a trick that was mainly done in passes, and there was a runner who still runs the game, his name's Cop Power. He actually came up with a consistent strat to do it, and ever since then people have just kind of been
To
adding
do it specifically
to it.
on NTSC, on PAL, it's much easier to do and has been featured in those runs for a longer time.
Right, yep.
So the difference between NTSC and PAL is that in PAL, they tried to retain Samus's normal speed, but everything else moves about 5/6 the rate that it does in NTSC, minus some anomalous enemies in some of the rooms in Norfair.
When do we
So what we just saw actually is the Zebetite skip, which takes advantage of a quirk of frozen objects. It seems frozen objects allow Samus to enter 1 pixel into a wall if the object is close enough to the boundary of the wall. So in this case, the Zebetites themselves are enemy objects, and Samus can't pass through them unless she has invincibility frames. But once you combine those two things, she can move into the wall and then just jump up and walk straight through the Zebetite. After that, the other Zebetites don't spawn.
Yeah, this is a very, very intense fight, especially in the new entry percent route. Before it was just 20 charge shots, and now it's a lot more, so it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Right, after she drops below 25% health, she'll be able to use what we call her red beam attack, which will take off at least an energy tank if it connects, and the players can't drop below 301 HP or else they will not survive the rainbow beam that happens post-second phase.
When do we want to cut off donations for the...
Should already be cut off by now, actually.
We're making the final tally right now. We'll let you know
Gotcha.
once the fight's over.
Gotcha. Straevaras showing off the Metroid skit for us.
And Zoast surviving the fight.
Yep, absolutely. The only thing left now is Mother Brain 3, which for a runner of his caliber is not a challenge in any way, and after that, just the escape.
Do you know what time it is?
So Clemens working his way, choosing not to do the grouping strategies, instead trying to catch back up as much time as possible. In fact, if you notice, he opted not to get one of the missile packs. So if he did not have 15-10, he would not be able to complete the game in a timely manner.
Yep. Very risky. That's
Clemens-
usually what runners go for in the route.
Clemens looking a little intense there. He thought he got hit twice by the side hopper, but he still had some invulnerability left during the transition, so he'll have 369 assuming he nails this skip.
Absolutely great. Mother Brain 3 by Zoast.
So of course, now that he's beaten the final boss of the game, it's game over, right?
Oh, of course.
Of course.
There's just one more thing that he has to do,
Minor.
Desi. Tonight, we save the animals.
No!
I'm looking at that timer and I'm just...
Yeah, just a heads up here, and a big thank you to everybody who donated for this. Over $350,000 were put specifically towards Kill or Save the Animals, with the winning total $185,000 for Save the Animals versus $173 for Kill. So thank you all for donating. But tonight, the animals live.
So before Zoast actually missed that big Metroid skip, he was on world record pace. So I guess I can't feel too bad about him having to save the animals since he no longer is. Good. Oh, 40 even. Sorry, 44 even.
And while the runners finish up here, just a thank you again to everybody who donated for the Kill and Save incentive. We had some last-minute donations from anonymous donors of $5,000 and $10,000, so there was some pretty serious competition there in the final seconds.
Wow. And Clemens, as you can see, it just shows how difficult the Mother Brain fight is, and even one small thing going wrong can just end your run. And that's almost 45 minutes into a speed run. You know, that's a lot of time to lose right at the very end. So
This is the reality of speedrunning Super Metroid.
yep,
SGDQ, a cautionary tale.
yep. Straevaras just heading down and gonna be up and out, and he'll be our second place finisher in this race.
Going for the more tricky diagonal shine spark.
Yeah.
Typically referred to as the Behemoth Spark.
Behemoth, by the way, the big runner from, I believe, the UK. He's been trading Zoast back and forth for the world record since, I don't know, at least a couple years now. He is actually the first person who unveiled this route. He pioneered it with Reeve, Smokey, a very old school player, and a couple other guys, I think. A very great player. Shout-outs to him for giving hell to all the any percent runners by introducing this route.
Right, absolutely. This is why I won't speedrun any percent anymore.
Congrats to all our runners for making it up here.
Yep, absolutely. They're some of the best players in the world, and we're very grateful for them running at the event.
And I believe also Doctors Without Borders is quite grateful for them as well. Would you say, what was the total on the...
Yeah, just on Kill and Save the
versus
Animals,
Kill?
over $350,000 were put to that bid war, so people were pretty passionate on both sides. And Doctors Without Borders is the benefactor in all of this, so thanks to everybody who was donating.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you all.
Dear
Force! Yep. So just a few quick things, some shout outs. One to Cot Power. I really wish that you could have been here, buddy. He's a superb runner. He has the number 3 time in any percent for the game right now.
Has also held the world record for a significant...
Yeah, he's very extremely good player. Also shout outs to another good runner who doesn't run much anymore, but DBX. Also, if you guys want to learn this game at all, there's tons of different resources. We have wikis. If you go to the Super Metroid IRC, there's tons and tons of people that would be way more than willing to give you any tips or anything. So we're always welcoming new players.
Absolutely. The progress that you've seen today would not be possible without the influx of new players that we've had in the past couple of years. So, if you want to start running the game, bring your own insight to it, we'd be happy to have you.
Yep, Super Metroid is a game very big on community. It's something that's been put together from all of the different runners and community members over the years. So,
I just want to say thank you to a few of them. Two-Cat, Snick, Eternized Dragon in total. They've done a lot the past year or so to further this game as a speedrun. Also want to say hi to DeGeez and Christmas, because I said I would. And make sure to check out the wiki if you're interested in this game. That's deanyd.net/sm. I try to do all I can to work on that wiki and keep it up to date, and with coming with fresh information that everybody can make use of.
Finally, I'd like to throw my shout-outs to the task community, who's known about quite a lot of the tricks that the RTA runners are just now discovering for quite a while. CP8 Alph especially, but we also have Taco Creole, Hero of the Day, and I think most recently Nimix has been discovering a lot of new tricks as well. So,
that's another thing too. Like, any percent isn't the only category that you can run for this game, and even if it is, the old route is still perfectly fine to learn and start understanding the game on.
Well, I think that's about it for Super Metroid. We appreciate you guys watching this run, and
Force!
See you next mission.
Yep. At this point, we're pretty much going to be getting you on to Chrono Trigger pretty soon here, and that'll be about the end of the marathon.
Yep. That's right. You guys are stealing all my lines over here, doing a fine job. Thanks to everybody again for the Super Metroid race participants. I believe they are wanted in the back for an interview, so as soon as you guys go ahead and clean up here in the front, head on back there, and we'll get you guys going on an interview. So, thanks. And then there was one, ladies and gentlemen, one game remaining in Summer Games Done Quick 2015. A game that maybe one or two of you have heard of, but probably not much more. I'd like to thank again everybody who donated for saving and killing the animals there at the end of the run. There were a ton of donations. Would have loved to have read them, but or read them rather. But There are pages and pages and pages of them, so just know that all your donations are appreciated. While we set up for Chrono Trigger here, we're going to run an ad quick for Tiny Build that we'd like you to pay attention to, and then we'll have an interview with the Super Metroid runners. So stay tuned. You're watching Summer Games Done Quick 2015. I'm Golden off the microphone here. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.
I am you from the future. There's no time to explain. Follow me to... Oh, Christ! Ah!
All right. And welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2015. I'm Spike Rachita, and as promised from up front, I am in fact joined by the Super Metroid runners.
All three of them.
All three of them,
all four,
right here.
yeah,
so how did
all
it
here.
feel to win and die to Splatoon in the same
Man,
run?
I can't, sometimes I just split personality, but this time it was more than usual,
Oh, man, I think in Zoast, we need to errat him. Like, he gets like he needs to lose like 2 of his fingers or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's always.
Yeah,
in all
too
seriousness, we are joined by Kevin, a representative of Power Up Audio. If you guys have noticed any difference in the audio quality of the stream, it is all due to these guys. For a while there, for years, it was, and people forget to keep it in perspective that we've only been doing the GDQs for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
And it started as just a thing in Mikuyama's basement. People, it was always an in-house thing. Speed Demos Archive, Speedruns Live. And there was, are we ever going to actually try to get professional teams on here to see if we can work this out a little more smooth? What's the story? How are you approached to do this?
I wasn't approached actually. I approached them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really good friends with the guys at Tiny Build actually. So, I've been watching GDQs for years. I speedrun myself, and Power Up works exclusively in games. So I hit up Luke at Tiny Build, and I was like, "Can you please give me an intro so we can at least get a conversation going and see if we can make this happen?"
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So give us an idea of, we keep saying SGDQ 2015 is brought to you by Power Up Audio, among other things. What is Power Up Audio? What do you guys actually specialize in?
Yeah, a lot of folks have been saying, do you do live sound or broadcasting is your main gig? And no, we don't. And in before Twitch says, obviously, Kappa. So, so we work, like I said, exclusively in game sound. So we do game development. We work on things like sound effects or music or voiceover or implementation is consultation, whatever, kind of filling in gaps in production as needed for a given game.
Sure.
So for things like Necrodancer, Danny B had music covered. He does not need our help. Sure. So we did sound effects and music, some cutscene mix and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of games.
So give me the breakdown. We're at the end of a very long journey. That goes back far before this week.
Yeah.
But tell me about this week. What was kind of your journey that what did you feel like you learned anything?
Yeah, it was challenging. Admittedly, the first day was a bit rocky. Given we're here in high pressure environments, and day one it's okay, well here you go. Guys like Matt and Rom Scout and such, they got experience in this. But I mean, we're jumping into this just head first, and I mean, Trihex had no sound in his ears for like 15 seconds. Started the first run.
And you can hear the groans. From
Yeah,
the channel,
we got like
nothing's
angry
better.
tweets.
Yeah, right.
We responded to all of them being like, I know, we want it to be good too. But I feel really secure in saying that it improved steadily over the whole week.
Absolutely.
And even by day 3, it was solid.
I think even the most critical members of the speedrun community or just viewers in general I've talked to and just said it has definitely improved the overall quality of the show, more so than just the audio. It seems like it's kind of helped everyone a bit, down to the communication between the runner and the host.
Yeah.
That was unbelievably good this year.
There's a couple runs back and forth. Banter was nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, real quick, a little side question before we jump into a few plugs. You said you're a speedrunner yourself. What do you do?
I run Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah, that's right. Do you want to explain a little bit? Is that 2D platform?
It's like a isometric cinematic camera kind of feel. You got 2 characters. This hand is movement interact on a controller, and you control 2 guys at once on the screen at all times. And the reason I like the speedrun so much is that any method you use to get out of bounds has to work twice because you have 2 characters. So if I like glitch off my brother and I'm out of bounds now, that doesn't work because this guy's still stranded, right? So it's just like, I don't know, it's really, really cool. I have the record right now, but it's not very contested, so I can't really brag too much.
That's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take your record away by convincing 150
what are the strats,
people
please?
out there. Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, please, come run it. Help me out. That'd be good.
So give me, I know you had talked a little bit before we went live about some plugging that you wanted to do.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's packs and other stuff. Yeah,
so we got PAX Prime coming up. Power Up's working on 5 games that are there, I think. We've got Mushroom 11, Viking Squad's like a lane-based brawler, like Castle Crashers meets Excitebike kind of.
Right.
We've got Darkest Dungeon as well. It's been doing pretty well on Twitch recently. We got Death's Gambit and Time Spinner as well. It's a Metroidvania, more Vania than Metroid, dealing in time travel. Yeah, it's great. And TwitchCon's coming up as well in September, and I'll be sitting in the first panel of the convention talking about dev and caster relationships.
I know a lot of people don't even remember about dates of TwitchCon.
It's end of September 27th, I think.
27th?
Maybe 6th. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
As long as you remember what your panel is, then we're good.
It's like the indies love casters, I think is what it is. Broadcasters.
Right.
They changed the name, I don't recall.
All right, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, the first one.
Kevin, I want to thank you for joining me.
Yeah, cheers. Oh,
Yeah,
and the last thing too,
go for it.
We do have a weekly dev stream for Power Up Audio at twitch.tv/powerup-audio. So we do things like Q&A with developers, we do active development of projects we're working on, or even just showcasing in-development builds. So give us a follow, drop by.
Be sure to check it out. From everybody here at the SGDQ staff, everybody watching from home and here, we want to thank you guys for definitely upping the quality of the show. It has definitely...
It's a great time.
I've always been a believer in, we are obviously trying to raise money for Doctors Without Borders, a wonderful charity organization, but I think more so than anything, you just want to put on a good show. And I feel like you guys have definitely improved that greatly this week. So from all of us, from the bottom of our heart, we thank you very much.
Hey, thanks so much, man.
Guys, we've raised $1.1 million. I predicted $1.2 million at the beginning of the week, so don't let me down. Get in there. We still got another close to 6 hours worth of games for you. In one game, I'm going to send you guys over for our finale, Chrono Trigger. Thank you all for watching.
All right, welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2015. We are nearing the end of this event, but we've got just a few more things for you. Coming up right now, we do have the results of the task competition, which was announced earlier by Dwango AC on stream. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I'm going to get through a couple donations that came in. There were like 1 or 2 donations that came in during the last run, so let's see if we can mention a couple of these. Here's a very special donation. We have $80 from one Mike Uyama. And this says, "Hey all, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but it's great to see SGDQ doing so well without me. I can't knock the million being hit, and I should be back for AGDQ, whether you like it or not. Anyway, I have to help out my friends, so this goes towards Robo being Choco, because the demon Chocobo will rise. And don't worry, you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the next couple hours. We also received a very large number of very substantial donations. We received a $1,000 anonymous donation, which went towards Marl's name being Nadia, and it simply says, "What is this, Arby's?" No, just no. And we received a $1,001 donation, which says, "I've been due on my teeths, so here's some for a great cause. Save the animals, you bloodthirsty monsters." I think this went a long way to helping that cause out. We also received a $120 donation from an anonymous donor. This money goes towards saving the demon chocobos. Won't you think of the demon chocobos? Yes, please, please. Think of our runners and their poor eyes and the fact that they can see things. Please donate to name our 3 characters in the final party after our Lord and Savior, the demon chocobo. And we received a $50 donation from Martin244. All hail the Demon Chocobo.
Check, check. 1, 2, 2. We're good.
All right. All right, I can do that. Okay. We are ready to play back the results of the speed task competition. I have the first 2, the fastest 2 submissions that we were able to judge fast enough. We had so many submissions that we might possibly have not found the very fastest one, but we believe these 2 are the very fastest. I'm going to do my very best to play these at exactly the same time, and we'll see who wins. So, one moment.